Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English with Mary and Sam. We're so excited to have you here with us today. It's always a pleasure to help you improve your English in a fun and interactive way.
Hi there. It's great to see you again. If you're new to our podcast, we're here to help you learn English in an easy and engaging way. Whether you're a beginner or you've been speaking English for a while, we've got something for you.
Exactly. And today's episode is a very special one. We're going to dive into something that's a big part of daily conversations. Compliments. Compliments are something that we all give and receive in our everyday lives. But sometimes it can be a little tricky to know what to say or how to respond.
That's right. Compliments are not just a way to express appreciation, but also a great way to build connections with others. However, it's easy to get stuck when someone gives you a compliment. Do you just say, "Thank you"? Or do you say something more?
Well, don't worry. We've got you covered. In this episode, we're going to teach you all the right phrases to give and receive compliments in English. We'll also share some tips on how to respond. And of course, we'll help you understand cultural differences when it comes to compliments.
So, let's jump in and start with one of the most common compliments. Talking about someone's appearance.
All right, let's begin with the basics. Complimenting someone's appearance is one of the most common ways we use compliments in everyday English. When you see someone looking good or wearing something stylish, it's nice to say something like,
"You look great today," or "I love your outfit." These are simple, friendly ways to tell someone they look good without going overboard.
Exactly. And there are also some more enthusiastic compliments that show how impressed you are. For example, you can say, "You look fantastic," or "You look amazing." These are stronger compliments, and they can really brighten someone's day.
Right, but remember, it's important to be sincere when you're giving a compliment. If you say, "You look amazing," but you don't really think so, it might come off as insincere. So make sure you truly mean it.
That's a great point, Sam. Now let's talk about how to respond when someone compliments you. If someone says, "You look great today," you might feel a little shy or unsure of how to respond. But don't worry, here are some polite responses you can use.
For example, you can simply say, "Thank you," or "That's so kind of you to say." It's a nice way to show appreciation without being too loud or boastful.
Another great response is, "Thanks, I'm glad you like it." This is friendly and humble, and it opens up the conversation for more interaction, like the person asking about where you bought the outfit or how you decided on your style.
Exactly. And if you feel like giving a little more information, you can say something like, "Thanks. I just bought this new dress, and I'm so happy you like it." This makes the conversation more personal and gives the other person a chance to ask more questions about your outfit.
That's a great way to keep the conversation going. Now let's talk about one other important point when receiving compliments. In some cultures, people might be modest and say, "Oh, this old thing," or "I didn't do anything special." But in English-speaking cultures, it's generally better to accept the compliment with gratitude rather than trying to downplay it.
Exactly. You don't have to act as though the compliment isn't deserved. A simple "thank you" is usually enough. But if you want to add something, you could mention that it took a little effort or that you're happy with the results.
Now, let's explore a slightly different type of compliment, one that isn't about appearance. What about when someone compliments your work, your talent, or your achievements?
This is another really important type of compliment. Complimenting someone's skills or abilities can make them feel appreciated and respected. For example, let's say someone says, "You did an amazing job on that project," or "Your presentation was fantastic."
In this case, you can respond with something like, "Thank you. I'm so glad you liked it." This keeps the response simple and shows that you appreciate the compliment.
Another good option is to say, "Thanks, I worked really hard on it." This response shows that you value the effort you put into the project, and it's a nice way to acknowledge your own hard work.
Exactly. And if you want to keep it humble, You can say something like, "I'm happy you liked it. It was a team effort." This shows that you recognize the contributions of others, which is always a good way to respond.
Right, and if you want to go the extra mile, you could say, "Thank you. I've been working on improving my skills in that area, so it's great to hear such positive feedback." This response not only shows gratitude, but also lets the person know you're always trying to get better.
Those are all excellent responses. Now remember, when someone compliments your work, your skills, or your accomplishments, the key is to accept it graciously and, if you feel comfortable, share a little bit more about your process or journey. It helps build rapport and keeps the conversation flowing. Before we move on to more examples, let's take a moment to discuss cultural differences when it comes to compliments. Complimenting people is important in many cultures, but the way people react to compliments can be very different depending on where they're from.
That's right. For example, in many Western cultures, it's common to accept compliments with a simple "thank you." But in other cultures, like in Japan or China, people might feel uncomfortable receiving compliments and may try to downplay them. They might say something like, "Oh, I don't deserve that," or "It was nothing."
Yes, in some cultures, there's a belief that receiving too much praise can be seen as boastful. However, in English-speaking cultures, it's perfectly acceptable to say thank you and enjoy the compliment. But of course, it's always good to stay humble.
Exactly. So, when you're in an English-speaking environment, it's a good idea to practice accepting compliments graciously. But if you're in another culture, pay attention to how people respond and follow their lead.
Now that we've talked about how to give and receive compliments, let's look at some of the language structures and vocabulary we've used today. These are useful phrases you can use in various situations.
Here are some key phrases for complimenting someone's appearance. "You look great today." "You look fantastic" or "amazing." "I love your outfit. That's a beautiful dress."
And for complimenting someone's work or skills, you can say, "You did an amazing job on that project. Your presentation was fantastic. I'm really impressed by your talent. You have such a great eye for design."
Now let's look at some responses to compliments. "Thank you. That's so kind of you to say." "Thanks. I'm glad you like it. I really appreciate that." "It was nothing, but I'm happy you liked it."
These are some great polite responses that will help you in any complimentary situation. Remember, the key is to be sincere and humble. Let's quickly recap the main points we covered today. Complimenting someone's appearance and work is a great way to show appreciation. When you receive a compliment, it's important to respond politely with a simple "thank you" or something that adds a personal touch. Practice both giving and receiving compliments in everyday conversations. Don't be afraid to accept compliments graciously. It's not about bragging, but being polite.
That's right. And remember, compliments are a wonderful way to make people feel good about themselves. So, don't hesitate to use them in your daily conversations. It will not only help you practice English, but also build stronger relationships with others.
We hope today's episode helped you feel more confident when giving and receiving compliments in English. Compliments might seem small, but they can go a long way in making someone's day. And of course, practicing them will help you sound more natural and fluent in English.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode and how you practice compliments in English. Share your responses in the comments below.
Thank you so much for joining us. Keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay confident and remember, learning English is a journey. You're doing great.